Hello and welcome back to UI Made Simple. In this video we are going to set up these currency widgets that we have at the top here. So when we claim a completed or better said a finished challenge, then we are going to take the rewards from the challenge and put them into our currency widgets. First we need to set up these widgets so they all have their individual types and icons. At the moment they are all just simple widgets that have a white square. This video will be exclusively done in Blueprints. If your project is set up with C++, feel free to skip ahead. There will be another video covering this in C++. Let's open our currency box widget and head over to the graph of this. We will be using the same enum type that we have used for our collectible rewards. If you remember, we have set that up as enum over here for collectible reward type, so we are going to use the same one for our currency box. The first thing we need to do is give this currency box a type. So I'm going to call this currency type, and the type will be an collectible reward type. Save this and make sure once you have created your variable, if you go down here, there is an option to make this instance editable. We want to make sure this box here is ticked. If this is ticked, then if we go to our widget where we're using this, which will be our rewards menu widget, then we can see that if we click on any one of those currency boxes that we have up here, we can then set the type from the enum that we have set up before. Now we can use this currency type to select between the different types of icons that we can set for this currency. So I'm going to go to my event graph. I've already deleted the nodes that were pre-set here. So I'm going to right click and re-add the pre-construct node. Pre-construct will fire in the editor as well as runtime, but you can separate between when these fires by using this isDesignTime bool. For this purpose that we want right now, we don't need to use the bool because we want the image to be set both in the editor and at runtime. So I'm going to create another function to set currency image, compile this and call it from my pre-construct node. Inside set currency image, we will want to choose between which image we want this currency to have from a mapping of images. So in my case, I need to create a mapping for what icons this widget can have. I will create another variable for this, and this will be currency icon mapping, and this will be of type map. So if we can choose the type down here, and the value will be a textured 2D. If you remember, we did a similar thing for our rewards, collectible rewards. In this case, we won't have an image for the XP, so we need to exclude that one from the mapping. If we save and compile this, we go down here, we see we can add the mappings. I will start from the bottom one, so ruby, crystal, and gem. I'm actually going to add one for experience as well, just to make sure we don't get an index out of range right here, but the experience one will never be used. So ruby, crystal, experience, and gem, and now I'm going to set the icons for this. I've got my icons set up here. Now we can set the currency image by dragging the icon image binding that we have in our widget. Set brush from soft texture. We can actually we've made our mapping with texture 2D, but we can make this a soft object pointer, so we don't have to preload them. And now in here we can grab the corresponding image using our currency type. So I'm going to need my mapping. We'll do a find. The type will be the currency type, and if we have found something, then we want to set it. Now if we save and compile this, we'll see that if we go back to our widget, now because this function runs in pre-construct, we can actually change the type here and the icon will change in the editor as well. The best thing about this is that we can set it by default to be something, and then if we go back to our rewards menu widget, we can then click on each one of those instances and then set the types for each individual one here. And crystal, like so. Now that we've got our icon set up, we need to add a function so we can set the value for this as well. So I'm going to add another function which will be set currency value. And set currency value will take in one parameter which will be the amount that we have for this currency, and it will be of type int. In our widget we had this common numeric text block which is not made a variable, so I'm going to make this a variable so I can use it in the graph. Now I can drag my currency amount from here and set the amount. Set current value. This takes in a float, but if we pass in the int that we have, it will automatically convert it for us, like so. We save this. Let's make sure that our set currency value is a public function, and it is. So we can save and compile this, and in the future we'll be able to access this from other places where we might need to. Just to make things a bit more interesting, I will initialize these widgets with a randomized value. So I will create another function to just give those a random value in a range. So we'll call this initialize random values, and I'm going to call my set currency value with random in range, and it will be a random integer in range. And we can choose a minimum and a maximum. In my case, I will put the minimum as 10 and the maximum as 100 and pass the random value into my widget. Now in the pre-construct, after we set the currency image, we can initialize with a random value and compile. One thing that we need to be careful, because we are calling this from pre-construct, if we happen to make a change to this widget and this function initialize random value will eventually call the set currency value, we are not checking if our currency amount is valid here, which means if we happen to delete this text from our widget, then our widget will crash and never open again. So to be on the safe side, we can add an isValid node here. Check if this is valid first, and only if it's valid then we will set the current value. We can do the same for our currency image as well, just to make sure that in case it gets deleted by mistake or renamed, then we don't have to worry about our widget crashing. Like so. If we go now to our rewards menu widget, we see that every time we compile we will get some random values between 10 and 100, which is great because this is what we wanted with our widgets. We have something to start off with. This was a nice, easy and short tutorial. I will continue next time with adding the challenge objectives for each challenge, and I will see you in the next one.